When he is at the bench hearing a case or delivering a ruling, you would be forgiven for thinking that 65-year-old John Bosco Katutsi has never laughed in his lifetime. Not known to many, he is a hearty and soft-spoken man.
And perhaps talk of the past with some nostalgia.
In court, Justice Katutsi has an exceptional trademark, a peep above his spectacles, and that appearance added to his white wig and a red robe make him the icon of respect. Katutsi projects a very careful and thoughtful look each time an issue is raised in his court, and he makes sure that everyone before him has the opportunity to present their concern. He says his character in court has not changed since 1972, when he began practicing after graduation from Makerere University.
Thereafter, I went to the Road Women's Center, where the pioneers at the center. Pioneers of the Law Women's Center. Okay. But before, when we were halfway, that is the time when Amin sent away the Asians.
Katutsi served as a magistrate before even completing his diploma in legal practice from the Law Development Center. In 1972, after President Idi Amin had expelled Indians from the country, a large number of legal officers of Indian descent relocated and left a huge vacuum in the judiciary.
Then after about 4 months, we were asked to go back to the LDC to complete our course, which we did, and I went back to Mbale.
From Mbale, he was transferred to Tororo, Masaka. Then in 1978 was moved to serve in Masindi as acting chief magistrate, and a year later transferred to Kabale as chief magistrate. In 1980, just before the Obote II government was re-elected in the much-maligned polls, Katutsi resigned and went into private practice. While still at university, a friend had threatened Katutsi with death, and in 1980, this person was holding a senior position in the powerful Uganda People's Congress. So Katutsi did not wait for the man to fulfill his deadly promise. He left for his hometown of Rukunjiri for private practice.
And he had told me point blank that he will make sure that I'm not employed in the UPC government.
When the National Resistance Army captured power in 1996, Katutsi again sought state employment. In 1998, he was posted to Mpigi as chief magistrate. He was at home in Mpigi since in his formative years, Katutsi had worked in many villages in the district in order to raise school fees. In 1993, he was appointed a High Court judge, and he has served in this capacity till retirement 17 years later. One of the cases he remembers vividly was that of Sarah Amin, a wife to former President Idi Amin. The couple had briefly separated, and Amin wanted to prove that she would not just get away. Sarah was a trader dealing in garments. One day, she was arrested in the Tororo area, and she faced charges of smuggling. However, the smuggling charge could not stand, but another case of operating without a wholesaler's license was preferred against her. Katutsi was standing in for the chief magistrate, was ordered to remand Sarah. I asked Katutsi if he has ever been asked by a government official to execute another order.
No. That was the first and last. Thank God. I am not a coward by nature. So I let things take their course. I said, I have done my job. What follows?
The retiring judge handled a very sensitive case of former Toro Kingdom Prime Minister John Sanyu Katuramu. Katuramu was convicted with his nephew Patrick Kwezi for the murder of Prince Charles Kijanangoma. Katutsi sentenced Katuramu to death. The Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court upheld the sentence. But Katuramu's sentence was later commuted to life imprisonment, together with that of all the death row inmates not executed in the first 3 years of their sentence. In 2006, Katutsi handled 2 politically sensitive cases involving opposition leader Dr. Kizza Besigye. One was to deliver Besigye from jail, and the second, a rape case which Katutsi dismissed and described the prosecution evidence as crude and amateurish. The cases came at the same time of the 2006 general elections. Katutsi, who was then a resident judge in Mbale, refused to try Besigye for treason, saying he did not want to be seen as a Besigye specialist. Katutsi was appointed the pioneer to head the anti-corruption court. Some of the people convicted by the court include Annalisa Mondon and Elizabeth Ngororano, who failed to account for 38 million shillings of the Global Fund money. Others are Teddy Sezicheye, a former director of economic monitoring in the Internal Security Organization, and journalist Fred Kavuma. Cheye was sentenced to 10 years in jail and ordered to refund 100 million shillings, part of the Global Fund money. While sentencing Cheye, Katutsi said, I quote, "How do we explain the mentality of a man who, in order to account for the money received, states that he transported people on a caterpillar wheel loader. Is this stupidity or impunity? The axe is now ready to cut down the trees. Every tree that does not produce good fruit will be cut down and thrown into fire. End quote. Last week, while convicting former NSSF Managing Director David Chanjamwa, Katutsi was back to his philosophical style. He said, "Then, why on earth are you selling these bonds below their maturity price? When they are left with just a month to mature, the devil himself would have applauded this inquisitive interjection." Katutsi has made many such comments. While convicting former Ministry of Works Chief Engineer Samson Bagonza over the Chogam Funds scandal, he wondered why court was trying tilapias when crocodiles were out there swimming freely.
Actually, what I meant was, and what I believe, is big shots who are involved in corruption are simply not being brought to book.
The judge once noted that the inherent nature of corruption crimes renders the present crime-fighting techniques ineffective, and therefore, criminals are always ahead of police.
They leave behind those who actually have proper information and bring those who know nothing. And when the court acquits, they say, for us, we did our job, we prosecuted, but the judge acquitted. And then the following day, you hear IGG ranking departments of corruptible people, judiciary second.
Because of his work in the anti-corruption division of the High Court, Katutsi retires as a man widely believed to be one of the most influential judicial officers ever. Frank Walisimbi, NTV.